This is Christy Carter of Global Positive News Network, and I'm here to interview the key founder of Rock Against Trafficking and label owner of Penny Fly Entertainment. In 2014, Miller started the Rock Against Trafficking Foundation, which records and releases album projects to raise money and awareness to fight human trafficking. The first Rock Against Trafficking RAT album, Set Them Free, which was produced by Miller, features Police and Sting songs performed by various well-known artists such as rock band Journey, Heart, Carlos Santana / Fergie, Ellis Hall, and En Vogue. I would like to introduce to you Gary Miller, the founder of Rock Against Trafficking.
Hello, how do you do? Very nice to be here.
Great to have you. And Tyler Prescott of Penny Fly Entertainment.
Thank you, Christy.
Who is also their records label.
Mm-hmm.
So Gary, your tagline, let's end human trafficking together by utilizing our contacts and influence within the industry, or the entertainment industry, we have set out to build a global awareness of human trafficking. So Gary, what prompted you to start this foundation?
Well, it was quite simple really. I was involved with an organisation called IJM, which is International Justice Mission. And a friend just brought a leaflet to me, a booklet, and showed me the statistics of it all, which I thought was unbelievable. I've never heard of it before. So I basically started off, I thought, well, I'd like to do something with music, because I've been producing records for a long time. So I thought, well, I'll make an album, which was a 3-month project, so I thought, and that was nearly 7 years ago.
Oh my goodness, wow, that's amazing.
So it started off as a simple thing, but then it's one of these things, once you get into, once you learn about what's really going on, it's you can't just say, right, I've done my bit now, I'm out. It's something that you start and you carry on for as long as you possibly can, really.
That's fantastic.
Until it's over, I mean, until we can abolish it, you know.
Absolutely. How did you find out this huge problem? Where did you hear about this?
Well, it was just like I say. It was just from just a normal leaflet, like a booklet that he brought me and showed me, and said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think we should do a record, not just one single like everybody does when they do a, like the We Are the World or the Live Aid thing, just one song." I wanted to do an album of 12, and we ended up with 14 songs, so that you could release a song every month to create the awareness. That was the idea, which we've finished now.
Okay, excellent.
And we keep adding to it. It started off at 12, and I think we've got about 16 now, and more people are coming on for this one album.
So it's really kind of snowballing. I mean,
it's snowballing. It's taken a long time to get things together, because obviously I was very naive with the fab. I didn't even know what 501c3 was. So it's getting that, learning all that sort of stuff, all the red tape that goes along with it.
Got it. Yeah, you kind of learn by doing. That's
what I mean. You learn as you go along, and then people came on board that weren't quite right for the company, and so you're swapping and changing all the time.
You just kind of tweak it, and so
you're actually tweaking it as you're going along. Even the record, I finished the record, but the record's not actually released yet, the full album. But you're always going back and changing and tweaking things right up to the last minute, really.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. That's awesome. So you kind of answered this, but what do you wish to accomplish?
Well, I mean, we have accomplished quite a lot. I mean, 7 years, I think, because when I first started this, there's not one person that I spoke, and I mean not one person that I mentioned it to, that had even heard of it. They thought it was something, even the artist thought it was something that happened in Cambodia. So nobody was aware of it. So we set out to do it, then we got a lot of press in Japan, Australia, Belgium, so, but what we hope to accomplish is, obviously, I wanted to keep something self-sustainable, because everybody's always trying to do fundraisers, which we've never done. We've never done a fundraiser. And I wanted to get something self-sustainable so that we could make a product that we could sell, that would go on for a long, long time.
Excellent.
And then with the funds from that, we were supporting like I've had relationships with like Underground Railroad and Unlikely Heroes and RGM and Slavery No Destiny Rescue. These are all people that have got boots on the ground and that they go and rescue the children. So the idea is obviously once we sell the record and we get from merchandising, so we can write checks to go and actually for these
fund those operations.
From these
Yeah.
operations. And obviously, it's all right creating awareness, but obviously you've got to. What if you rescue these children? You can't just stick them back on the streets again. So there's all things we want to do, a concert series and merchandising, so that we can build. Can build schools, we can build shelter, just work with all different organisations, like CAST is another one as well. And in the early days, I don't know what it's like now, but it was only funded 1%. That's all it was, that's all, which I thought was ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the second largest illegal trade below sort of like drugs.
Yeah, people don't realize, they think, slavery, that's been over and done with, and there's actually over 3 times as many people in forms of slavery today than the entire slave trade that everyone refers to in history. And it's not just in Cambodia or Malaysia. It's actually right here in the United States as well.
The Super Bowl is one of the worst.
Every year the
Super Bowl,
there's
hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And I think another thing I'd like to say is, well, families have got to be aware. Even down to when you take your kids to the shopping mall, and you'd leave them and you'd say to them, just go off and do some shopping and come back. Kids have been taken away from shopping malls. People have been abducted in broad daylight. There's all sorts of things that go on.
Exactly.
And I think people have to be really, really careful, with the kids and stuff.
Exactly. Wow.
But it's very. I think it's very dangerous, and I think, but creating awareness, at least. More parents will be
being aware and learning how to see symptoms of trafficking or child abuse or something like that. And what to not park your kids alone in the shopping mall and things like that, and basic stuff. But some people they need to know. And be reminded.
Yeah, they don't think it's kind of a reality that happens everywhere, and and that's really the whole approach behind Rock Against Trafficking is this is such a graphic issue, and people don't really want to be beat over the head with the realities of it, and that's unfortunate, because if you can't have a conversation about it, you're not able to fix it very well. But on the other hand, with what we're trying to do is pair by pairing the music and the merchandise and tickets to events, just by the fans going and buying the music, buying the merchandise, buying tickets, then they're helping solve this problem without having to necessarily be, really told like all the ins and outs of how awful it is, really.
Exactly.
But it's there if they want to know.
It's like a Trojan horse, really. Taking it in. That's how I've always seen it. Take them in to go and see. If you can sell out the stadium, which we've been asked to do some concerts, and people are going, even if they don't want to support human trafficking, they already are by going to a concert. They are by buying a T-shirt. They are by. So even if some people don't want to. Oh no, we don't. And that was my problem in the beginning. I remember talking to somebody in San Diego saying about this, and he said to me, I'm glad I live in San Diego. I said, this is one of the worst, on the borders, this is one of the worst places there are. And even he lived in San Diego, and he wasn't even aware of it.
Right. So you guys are putting a spotlight on human trafficking here in the United States as well as other parts of the world.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely. Starting here, really. Starting in America, but you've got to, because that's another thing when I've spoken, because I know quite a lot of, famous actors and stuff, but a lot of the, things what happen is they think, well, I give money to Cambodia because it'll never get there. So I think it's best to, in other words, privileged people helping the underprivileged.
Exactly.
But I think it's got to come from America. And that's one good thing about Trump, who supports the fight against, which is good.
Yeah, it's like, whether you love or hate the guy, he's no saint, but he's definitely, the proof is there. I mean, he's made more executive orders, more arrests, the statistics on what he's done to fight this problem against human trafficking, to raise awareness of it. One of these executive orders, he just laid it all out, and it was very harsh. It was like, if we find any U.S. citizens or anybody that's associated with our citizens that's in any way, even by proxy, involved in this illegal trade of humans, then all of their assets are frozen and they're arrested.
I love it.
There's another thing.
It's just getting right to the point.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
and it's refreshing to hear that he's done something like that.
Right. And that's what you don't hear the media talking about.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. So.
And that's another thing with the media. I mean, I was acquainted with Ronald Reagan's son. and he'd want to go on Fox TV, could never get on there, the TV, and if something happens, I think 150 people a few years ago were arrested in Vegas, 150, right? It was on the news for 2 days, and then it's forgotten
and then
about.
boom, it's gone. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
exactly.
my.
So this is like,
one of the largest human trafficking busts happened in Norway. It was actually the largest ever that we were involved in on the law enforcement side with the FBI, and there's just no media coverage about it, and it just it kind of puzzles you, you know.
well, I know why, because I think, you know, something like this, there's most probably a lot of people in very powerful positions.
Absolutely.
You know, they squash it with the TV and stuff like that.
Because when you really look at all mainstream media, a lot of people don't realize, you know, there's all these newspapers, magazines, TV channels, and networks. But it's actually all, you can trace it all back, it's just 6 companies, and that's 6 CEOs. So that's not very many people that you need power over to control what people are told every day on their television.
Exactly, and thank goodness for social media and
Exactly,
technology.
right.
People can start up their own thing and do what we're doing right now. Isn't that awesome?
Beautiful thing.
And there's some great things. We're also involved with an orphanage in Mexico.
Okay.
And I've been there, Jan we're going to go, but and there's a 5-year-old girl that's been abused, and there's actually a hit out on her because she's going to testify against some of these people.
Right.
You know, so it's just like, and I've been amongst them, and it's unbelievable when you see a little 5-year-old. Even if it's something people can't turn around and say, we don't want to know about this. So many people have said that to me personally when I've been talking in the very beginning. When we know, but now I mean, everybody's talking about it now. So I think Rock Against Trafficking has played a really big part, which I'm very pleased. We haven't actually sold the album yet and funded things yet, but I think we've got staying power.
Yes, you do.
And we're just going to keep going until we can raise, because obviously it costs a lot of money to do it. You need money to solve some of these problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've personally funded all this, and now we're at the stage we've got 5 albums to do. We need people to step up now.
Yes. And I think you're going to get those people stepping up real soon.
Yeah, we need the. I mean, basically to do the project, to sell it, because we don't want to go with our hand out all the time. Feel like Oliver Twist, please sir, can you give us some money? I'd rather earn the money from concerts like a major label does, and that's why it's taken people. A lot of people said, well, why is it taking so long? But we're not a major label, but we're doing what a major label could do, but we don't have major label money. But we don't want to pass it over to major labels because they'll want to take 85% of the profit, which is going to do the children no good. You know?
Yeah, it defeats the whole purpose. Yeah.
I mean, Slash was the first person that brought it to mind. He said to me, Gary, he said, it's great all this, but you're just doing an album with a bunch of rock stars. You've got to create the entity, which I think we have done. And since I met Jet, and it was very organised, and with his organisation, it's a great package, I think.
That's fantastic. Oh, you guys are doing such good stuff for the world. That's why you're here on Global Positive.
Good.
Just making a positive
We're very
difference
happy to be
in
here.
our world.
Cheers
so
to that.
Thank you. So, what has been your biggest challenge with running this organization?
Well, my biggest challenge, obviously, because it's very celebrity based, I've had a lot of things where I think people have wanted to get involved for the wrong reasons. Because I was very naive with the 501c. I'd have people come in and say, yeah, I've run organisations, and I'd go, okay, great. Well, I'm doing the music, I'm doing that. I think any company it's a people thing. It's getting the biggest challenge is getting the right people. People have come on board for 3 months thinking, oh, this is great, and then when you know, there's not been a big paycheck at the end of it, there's not been this, they've just wandered off, you know.
Wow.
So that's what, that to me...
Or they just didn't know what they were doing and kind of...
Oh, they didn't know what they were doing.
Interesting.
And obviously, you know, people just make things up, what you do.
Especially in this industry.
In this
it's
industry, it's
amazing.
like, oh no, it's just awful, you know. You know, I think there were people at one point thought that when we lived in Malibu, that I was in Malibu making these records and not putting them out and just raking loads of money in, which we've never done because we want to do this as a business, you know.
Yes, exactly.
But obviously, in the beginning, when you're trying to get funds to do that, and it's not tried and tested, so we had to just stick it out. We proved that we can do. Everybody said, you'll never do this album, which we did. You'll never have a hit with it, which we had two, one with Jenny and Glenn Hughes.
Fantastic.
But we've had a lot of setbacks and things like that. But we just keep going through all the time until we get and we're getting further and further along all the time.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
1 inch at a time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's solid. You're on solid ground. I can
Right,
feel it.
right.
It's so great. Just a question off the cuff. What about doing a GoFundMe campaign or something like that?
Well, we've done a couple of things like that. The only problem is, what I have a problem with is using the artists, you know what I mean? Because the thing is, till we've finished the album, we have to go through stages. All these artists came on board, and not one of them charged a penny. So you're dealing with managers, agents, record companies, lawyers, everything like that. So I think what we have to do to make them see that we're doing the right thing is get the album out and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
And also even just, you know, with the people with our record label, you know, we have a lot of the same personnel that have done, you know, international marketing campaigns for Britney Spears to U2 to Childish Gambino, Mumford & Sons, and they know what the major label formulas are to properly market a release, especially a compilation like this with so many artists. There's so many logistics that go into it. And, you know, major labels, they spend several hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this, right? And, you know, we would be, you know, to put up a crowdfunding campaign and, you know, raise, you know, 10,000 or something, it doesn't make much of a dent, and we don't want people to feel like their money's going in the wrong place or not getting used the right way. And on top of that, even just from a marketing perspective, a lot of people have you know, anybody can go and put up a Kickstarter or crowdfunding campaign. So it actually just becomes, in order to stand out, it's just really another thing that you have to market. So you have to have a budget to market your crowdfunding campaign, because if people don't know about it, then it doesn't really go anywhere. But yeah, I mean, that's a great question, and it's actually something that, you know, we hear a lot in the industry for every project. And when you really look at the data, there's this many crowdfunding and Kickstarter projects, and, you know, like 0.5% actually get any attention. And
Yeah, unless, like Jeff said, unless you market it properly. And everything takes money. To market a crowdfunding thing, you need money. To market an album, you need the money. But I would rather persevere and do it like we've done it and come through. Because when people say this, so we've done this, which often people do, you should do this, so we've done that, we've done this, and we've done that, you know. And I think it'd be more of a big impact. There's more of a story to tell.
That's fantastic. I love that. That's so good.
But we've managed, like I said, we've managed to pay for it ourselves up to this stage. But now we feel that we've proved ourselves that we can do this.
Fantastic.
And people out there that want to help, you know, we want to help to create a product to sell, and so that money goes to the right places.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Excellent. Excellent. So Tyler, could you tell us more about Penny Flight Entertainment?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually, you know, kind of started in this industry as an artist myself about 7 years ago, which actually, it's interesting, it didn't occur to me till just now. We kind of found out about human trafficking around the same time, about 7 years ago. So I just graduated from Penn State with a cybersecurity degree, and that's what I thought I was going to do with my life. And, you know, I was certified to work with the NSA, and, you know, just kind of getting in those circles, I've discovered and talking to these different agencies and FBI, CIA, you know, about really what is like the biggest problem, and a lot of it points back to human trafficking. There's a lot of blackmail there, a lot of control at top levels, and it's pretty crazy stuff. So you know, back when I graduated, I was also releasing music as an independent artist myself under Jet Prescott, and you know, doing kind of a piano rock thing, and I had some success with that, and started, you know, so that caused me to move from Pennsylvania out here to Los Angeles, and, you know, saw some contracts through Epic and Sony wanting to sign, and that's what really opened my eyes as to, you know, them wanting, you know, these 85% of all of the revenues. They own you, your brand, your likeness, your music, their final say in everything. And I was like, you know, I just kind of pulled in the business people around me that I knew that had been in the industry for a while, and said, you know, how realistic or unrealistic is it to create our own label and what's kind of the secret sauce that the Warners and the Sonys of the world use to blow up a Katy Perry. What's going on behind the scenes. And what we found is that they're really just outsourcing all of these different efforts. So all the heavy lifting that's creating these stars, it's all outsourced to different PR firms, tour agencies, sync licensing companies, radio promoters, social media teams, of course. And so we've spent the last 6 years just making all of these relationships with the right people that do all of that for the major labels. And they want to help give back to artists as well, and see, everybody knows, it's no secret at this point that artists have been mistreated for decades. And a lot of it has to come from the industry side, but also from the artist side. The more artists that kind of turn down contracts that are not favorable to them, the more opportunities there are on the industry side to solve that. So that's where we came in with Penny Fly Entertainment. Is when we sign our artists, we have a unique structure that really nobody else does, where we just make it very simple, and it's a 50-50 partnership split. And then we allow the majority of the rights to stay with the artist. And obviously, we have to be very selective about who we sign, but it's just trying to kind of get the industry in the right new, what's my words here?
The right new genre?
Yeah, just kind of, everybody feels that this industry shift is inevitable at this point, and artists need to be treated better. So, and I want to make sure we're not anti-label. We're pro-artist. We need to give back to artists. And so it was. I really feel it was a blessing. Being able to meet with Gary about a year ago, and we saw the challenges that Rock Against Trafficking had on the business side and on the label side. And marketing and everything. And so once we linked up, it was like you were satisfying two different parts of the same puzzle. And so once we just started getting all of our teams involved and rebranding everything and all, it was just it's really turned into something special that we're beyond excited about, to get this album out there and start making a difference, producing more albums. And again, coming back to just charity and the music relationship. We've only really had these kind of one-off things like Live Aid and We Are the World, and we want something that's sustainable, that continues and grows and keeps giving back to this cause. And there's really no limit here. I mean, because we can rock against trafficking, we can rock against bullying, we can rock against animal cruelty. So it's something that we really have a big vision for, that just there's no reason to put a stop to it. So
I think you're really onto something. You guys are brilliant. I love what you're doing. It's fantastic. It's so good. I'm just curious, why Penny Fly for the name? What does Penny Fly mean? I've been wondering that.
That's a great question. Actually, that comes from, it's kind of a long story, so the short version is my grandfather, who passed away when I was 11. Out of anybody in my family, he's the person that I basically have the same personality as. And ever since he passed away, there is just these different incidences of seeing pennies in places that didn't make any sense. Like my mom would get her car detailed, there'd be nothing in it, and she'd drive it somewhere and then come back and then there's a penny on the dashboard. And I used to always tell my grandfather that he looked like Abe Lincoln on the penny.
Oh my goodness.
And so there was already when I was a little kid, I was like, hey, that's you. And so we started seeing pennies, and there's a similar story around flies buzzing around at like restaurants and stuff. And it was just, so Penny Fly is just kind of a little family thing, but
really
just tried to think of something different and a little unique, and something that has a little bit of a story behind it. So that's kind of what what it turned into.
Deep meaning for you.
Yeah, it
That's
does.
fantastic.
It does.
And so you believe so much in it.
I do.
And that's huge.
Thank you.
That's huge.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. Wow. So Gary, what positive news do you want to share with our audience at Global Positive News Network?
The positive news.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that's really positive, when people are starting to do things, you always think one person can't make a difference. But I think when you start, because I was just on my own in the very beginning. But when I look back now of all that's been created just by doing one record, you can make people think there's no point in me getting involved with that because I'm not going to make a difference, which is not true. I think you can.
Yeah.
If you've got sustain, if you're sustainable and you can keep going, it's just keep going and going and going. That's how you become successful. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's having that vision and that fortitude to carry it out and kind of a bigger entity than yourself. You know, you see all
Exactly.
the artists who've done it, like Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
You've seen, Lionel Richie. I mean, all these artists. Kind of
Yeah.
They've all struggled. I mean, if you look at actors
Yeah.
and artists
Yeah.
and the Beatles and Elton John and all these sort of people, you know, they didn't suddenly become famous. I mean, there was in the back of vans, there was travelling up motorways and freeways.
Exactly.
It's just, but you've got to, I think you've got to have it in your blood to
Yeah.
keep it, because it's very, people don't realise how much, or what hard work it is, you know,
Yeah, it-
and the stress of having to deal with different personalities
Exactly.
can be very, very difficult sometimes.
Exactly. Just
But
having that
you
strength.
can, you know, one person can make a difference.
I believe that
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
You look at Steve Jobs, you know, Bill Gates. I mean,
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. I mean, but they've had a lot of people helping them, but they had the vision
The vision.
to make this
Right.
happen.
But they started by themselves, exactly.
Exactly.
And if,
Yeah.
if people have the mindset that, oh, just me, I can't make a difference, well,
Right.
you won't with that attitude.
There you
so,
go. So just
I
give up
mean,
right now.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But you know, if everybody,
Uh-huh.
even if half people, you know, shifted their mindset and realized that they themselves, you know, it truly is a ripple effect. Because just from what you're doing, especially with social media, and everyone puts everything on there. Oh, I'm mowing my lawn right now. Well, it's like, you know, if you're doing something positive for the world and you talk about that inspires other people.
Right.
Even if they don't take the time to like your post or put a comment, they've
Right.
seen it.
Right.
And it's in their head, and,
Right.
and it's
That's correct.
it just expands from there.
Another thing
Right.
as well, I think in business today, especially with a lot of the younger people, I've found personally that people don't really want to go through the full haul of it. They want to they'll start at stage 1, but they want to jump to stage
Yeah,
7.
they want
Then
immediate results, or if
Right,
it's not quick enough, they're not.
I don't think anything works like that.
Right.
I don't think
Exactly.
I don't think there's anything. There's such thing as overnight stardom or overnight success.
No.
I think the overnight success takes 10 to 20 years.
It is.
Right.
That's kind of the average what I've studied.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
It might seem
Yeah.
to the layman that it looked like it was overnight, but the amount of years of time and effort that went into it to get it to that point,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah,
it's-
exactly. Well, Global Positive News Network would like to thank you both very much for this
You're very
interview.
welcome.
Thank you,
guys are
Christy.
doing such good things for this world, and I want to urge
Likewise.
That's right. We're all doing this together.
Yeah.
I want to urge our audience to go to your website, rockagainsttrafficking.org, and get involved. You can donate, you can become a sponsor, you can even become a member. With an estimated 40 million people currently living in conditions of slavery, every contribution can make a difference in someone's life. So again, thank you guys for being here on Global Positive News Network, and I urge our audience to go to rockagainsttrafficking.org. We'll see you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Thank you
It
very
was
much.
awesome. You guys
Thank
were
you,
just
Christy.
fabulous.
Thank you. Awesome.
Oh,
A joy to interview. Thank you.
Thank you very much.